Thursday morning. It is 8:02. I'm first warning meteorologist Eric Burris. I apologize for the couple of second delay. I am absolutely running in slow motion for you. So, yeah, there's that. Did a little rocket coverage yesterday, which I am grateful for, but it also means that here we are, fueled by coffee and coffee and bad decisions. All right, let's talk about what's going on this morning. The top two things we are watching. Pool weather continues, but as Dave Matthews would say, too much of a good thing, not so sweet. Yeah, fire danger is starting to creep up, and it is a normal thing this time of year, but it is something we'll have to watch. So let's look at both of those elements here coming up on Coffee Talk. First, a live look outside. There's also a little bit of fog. Our drive back from the Kennedy Space Center at 2 o'clock this morning, 2:30 this morning. Yeah, because I got to bed by 3:30. All right, so it was 2:30. Our drive back from the Kennedy Space Center started running into some fog. This is a live look at our tower cam, and that is up in Ocala, where we are watching some fog. So a couple of things. Let's just get right to the advisories, just so that we're all on the same page. Dense fog advisory not in effect for Marion County, but it is in effect for Sumter County and for Polk County, and that runs until 9 o'clock this morning. Why? Let's look at the visibility numbers across Central Florida. And you can see those visibility numbers definitely lowest out in our western areas and the Nature Coast. Sumter County in it. If I'm honest, Marion County could probably qualify for it if they were issuing advisories now. But being that it's 8:04 in the morning, we're fine. But the I-4 corridor from the metro area back over, it's not really bad until you get to Tampa, the I-75, I-4 corridor. But once you get into Polk County, into our area, it's fine. So Leesburg watching some fog, Wildwood watching some fog. But basically, for the rest of our area, we are looking pretty okay. And in terms of flights, by the way, of course, fog can play and wreak havoc on the Orlando International Airport. Not massive issues here, and the FAA is not reporting any kind of delay programs, but 12 flights coming and going, delayed, 4 flights canceled. While we are watching a little bit of fog, we're seeing a whole bunch of gook on radar. There's no rain to be had, and if I was going on TV, I'd be able to QC that out, so not a big deal there. All right, temperatures across the area. 64 degrees in Orlando, 66 in Leesburg. It's 63 degrees in New Smyrna Beach and 65 degrees back over to Bithlo. So where do we go from here? It's going to be a beautiful day, but like yesterday, it is going to be a toasty one. 85 degrees by 1 o'clock. We'll make it to 88 degrees for our high temperature today. So well above average readings. That is where, my friends, we are headed today. When we look at the record board, once again, we find ourselves in the vicinity of getting to records. 88 in Orlando. Record is 90. That record over 100 years ago. That'll be interesting if we get pretty close to that one. Sanford, 87, record is 88. And Leesburg, 87, record's 86. It is Leesburg's record that we are expecting to break today. Daytona Beach, 84, record is 88. That one set back in 1939. In Melbourne, 84, record is 92. So I think that Sanford will get there. Leesburg will get there. Sanford will be close. And Orlando will be close enough to watch. So this afternoon, if I'm awake, we'll be on record watch. Okay? All right, let me say good morning to you, everybody, and check out the old comments as I'm trying to wake this brain up. Honestly, I'm probably going to close my eyes after Coffee Talk for an hour, maybe 2 hours. And then I'm going to go see my old man, my brothers. Yeah. Annie, good morning to you. Debbie, good morning. Oh, Frank Burris is in the room. Frank, I'll see you in a few. Good morning to you. Annie, good morning to you. Beverly, good morning. I'm going to get a little bit of sleep today, yeah. Annie, good morning to you. David, how are ya? Kenneth, good morning. Darlene, good morning, everybody. Getting ready to head over, Frank says. Yep, we'll see you then. Oh, Debbie, did everyone get a chance to place their guesses on our Facebook page? When will Arlene be a storm? Oh, yeah. Happy day after. Happy day after hurricane forecast release. Oh, boy. Yeah. Amy, good morning to you. Debbie says, Eric, I went outside to watch the launch. It was a doozy, wasn't it? The atmosphere, the wind, everything. It was gorgeous. But what was kind of interesting is we were watching, and I'll just pull this up. This is the data from last night. I haven't refreshed the page. This was the data from last night. This was one of the buoys off the coast of the Carolinas. And, oh, actually, it auto refreshes, doesn't it? So this is one of the buoys that's off the coast of the Carolinas. And this was what the launch weather officers were watching, specifically for wave heights and for wind speeds. And it's been gusting because there's a storm system off the coast. And this was one of those concerning elements that the launch weather officers were watching for last night. So glad that all went well. It was just within constraints. We had a launch weather officer with us, and Lieutenant Thaler did a wonderful job explaining those concerns. And yeah, Julie says, I couldn't hang late enough to see if the launch happened. Oh, it happened. It very much happened. Late. Go get that float and nap in the pool. But then I get all burnt up, and nobody wants to see a crispy weather guy. Nobody wants to see me in general, you know? Oh, man. Sad I missed the launch, but have been so sleep-deprived I couldn't convince myself to set an alarm. Steph, I get it. I'm very much on that page as well. But great. I'm grateful because it's watching history, and there's something about standing there. If I'm honest, there's something about standing there and seeing the astronauts drive by that gives me this sense of pride. Like, wow, look at what we're doing. I don't know. It's one of those things. One of those things for me. So anyway, here's a look at high temperatures today. I will never take for granted the opportunity to get to do those things. 88 today in Orlando, 87 in Leesburg. It's 86 in the Villages, 84 in Titusville, 85 New Smyrna Beach. So it is a warm day in paradise, and it is Thursday, which means it is the opening round, my friends. It is the opening round of the Arnold Palmer Invitational. We are at that event today. Oh, how fun is this event? If you're heading out there today, great weather. It's going to be breezy out of the southwest, and that southwest wind is why we've got such a nice and warm temperature. Yeah. Jan says it rumbled the still air last night for sure. Never gets old. It never does. So I was out with our news operations manager, Pat Gribben, and it was pretty great because Pat. Let me tell you a quick story. So Pat's retiring shortly, which flipping breaks my heart. Absolutely breaks my heart. And if you didn't see the video, I'll show you. I positioned myself when the rocket was going up. I positioned myself behind him, and I did it on purpose because what I wanted to do was when the rocket was going up, I wanted to take video. I wanted to take video of him taking pictures, you know, and I wanted to show him like that's our last rocket launch together, conceivably. Well, unbeknownst to me, so as soon as it goes up, I get my pictures and I throw my phone down and I'm done. Right? And I got some while I was taking the video, I got some of these stills and they're very cool. It's, if nothing else, it's just a neat picture. Then I put my phone down. And the rocket goes up and it goes up. So now he's out of my peripheral vision. So he's out of my peripheral vision, and I have no idea that he turns around and takes pictures of me just looking up at the rocket. That's myself. And then he took a wide shot. That's myself and Lieutenant Thaler, the launch weather officer, whom, for what it's worth, like, he popped on and we did, I interviewed him for WESH 2 News over on CW18. And then when he was done with his interviews, he came back and we were just talking weather nerd stuff, and it was just really neat. He and his wife are expecting expecting their first child in a couple of weeks, and so it was like, oh man, like you're about to become a parent. And so it was just, I had a great night talking to Lieutenant Thaler, and that kind of was just a neat moment where we were both just looking up and appreciating what was happening, like right next to us. Like I've at this point I've covered quite a few launches, and I could tell you I can cover quite a few more, and it will never, ever, 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 ever get old. I will never take that for granted. So, for what it's worth, it is amazing. But to see the astronauts drive by and like wave, they're not seeing me. They're in their spacesuit visors, in their pressure suits. They're not looking over. But just to like see it and know that they drove right by you, it's like those people are going to space. I don't know. Forgive me for being such a nerd. All right, so the big story today is going to be the near record heat. But it's not just today, okay? When we look at the forecast for tomorrow, we actually get even warmer in Orlando. We're expecting 90 degrees in Orlando. And when we look at the record map for tomorrow, you'll notice we're awful close to records, and not just in Orlando. Like Orlando, again, 1918. So you're talking about a record over 100 years old. We're going to be within a degree tomorrow. Like, that one's going to be a possibility. Taylor says the nerd factor is why we love you. Thank you, Taylor. Love you too. For the same reason. Sanford, 89 the forecast tomorrow. That'll probably be a record. Leesburg, 88. That's going to obliterate the 86-degree record. And Daytona Beach, probably going to tie a record going back to the 1950s. So, yeah. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Rosebud says the launch last week was better. Why? I don't know. 4 souls went up to space last night. There's something pretty awesome about that, to me at least. I don't know. I do want to point out one thing. Our weather's looking great this morning. Our weather's looking great through today. But it's going to be a warm day. And one thing that's interesting is because the temperatures are getting high enough, there's enough of a spread, the dew points are low enough, we're now getting into a relatively seldom visited space. Okay? By tomorrow, we're going to have a fire weather watch posted. That's going to be from lunchtime to 7 p.m. All right? So what is a fire weather watch? Well, essentially... Okay. I thought we had this graphic. Here we are. No, we don't. Okay. Wait. No, we don't. All right. So a fire weather watch, essentially, that's when the atmosphere is just dry enough, but we've got a nice hot air mass in place and some gusty winds in place. You kind of have dew point temperatures in a certain spot, and when you find yourself in a fire weather watch, and let me just do this, and I'll read to you what the National Weather Service talks about when they talk about a fire weather watch, okay? And again, this is our area, okay? So when relative humidity, when you get the high temperatures so high and the dew point in a position where the relative humidity is low, okay? So I'm just going to read to you. Noon, Friday through 7 p.m., okay? Winds southwest 15 to 20 with gusts to 30, and temperatures in the mid to upper 80s with relative humidity as low as 30%. And it's like, I think 35% is the range, but we'll go with 30% because that's what they posted, okay? So a fire weather watch means that critical fire weather conditions are forecast to occur with dry vegetation, gusty winds, and low humidity, okay? In the event that this is needed to be upgraded, that would be a red flag warning, which I know it should just be a fire weather warning, okay? So a couple of things about that. That just essentially means that there's a lot of wind and a dry atmosphere. And when you see that, okay, you've got particularly high opportunity for fires to rapidly spread, whether it's a burn pile or otherwise. For today, fire danger index is low to moderate. That more than likely will go up. But when you look to the Keach-Byram drought index, I do want to point out, since the last time that we have looked at this, the Keach-Byram drought index numbers are indeed going up. We're now getting in kind of the halfway point of the scale. All right, through the metro and even into the southern areas. We're not to the high point of the Keach-Byram scale, thank God. But if we don't start to get some rain, these days where we get gusty winds will give us proper atmosphere for fire development, okay? So for what it's worth, just keep that in mind. All right? We are in that time of year, and when we look to the, we're talking about rain and everything, right? When we look to the drought conditions for the year, here's a look at the rainfall numbers. It's not out of control, but the drought numbers, the deficit numbers, are starting to build. So there's something there to understand, right? Laura's quoting Phil Collins, "Ooh, I wish it would rain now." Totally wrong key, and I'm not awake enough, but there you go. You get the idea. Gretchen, good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Taylor says there's been a fire burning in the Ormond-Daytona border on Clyde Morris for like 2 to 3 weeks now. More than likely, that's just a controlled burn. Last data I saw, it's not there, actually. I will tell you, though, when the winds shifted yesterday, it was this burn here that ended up throwing smoke over the Kennedy Space Center. We were getting it for a little while. Like, it was, you could see it in the sky south of us, and then the wind shifted around enough that it was coming up to us at the Kennedy Space Center, and then it shifted again last night. So, yeah, we do have, these are prescribed burns, and certainly, the concern is any kind of prescribed burn going out of control. I would imagine for tomorrow particularly that there's not going to be any prescribed burns. So, yeah. Just given that kind of condition. All right. So we know that today is going to be a hot day. We know tomorrow is going to be a hot day, but there is some relief out to our west. A cold front is moving our direction, and as it works in, it will by Saturday bring in a few showers, we think, not bad, but a few showers, and then by Sunday into Monday into Tuesday into Wednesday, we start to get into comfier conditions. It's not a major difference, but it's something. It's something. So let's take a look. Central Florida's certified most accurate 7-day forecast. Look at the difference. Again, it's not much, but it's something. 88 today, 89 tomorrow. A couple of showers around Sunday, Monday, Tuesdays. That front essentially stalls out, right? But look at the difference. Saturday, 89. Sunday, 82. What? Monday, 84. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, we're starting to come back. There's that. I do want to point out raw GFS. Okay, this is one computer model and this is one run, but it's had a fairly consistent stretch here. There's that little temperature drop. Okay, then March 6th, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're hot again. A little bit of a drop again by like March 10th, 11th, Friday, Saturday. Warm again. And then look at March 14th, 15th, 16th. It's showing a little bit of a temperature drop. Right? Now, we'll see how that plays out, but at least the models are showing around mid-March, may have a little bit of a drop, which beats a sharp poke in the eye, right? One thing that's interesting is how long it's been since we've had ourselves anything decent. Important to note also, while we talk about our long-range forecast, the opportunity to get those dropped temperatures just a little bit. It at least give us something to be hopeful for. Yeah. I'll take that. Taylor says, thank Jeebus. Hopefully the models are right. I know, right? Jennifer says, right on schedule every spring break. I mean, it's for what it's worth, it's not a massive temperature drop, But that's funny. I didn't even think about that. Is that when we're on spring break? Is that the week of... It's the 12th, I think. So spring break. Yeah, that for me that's spring break, right? Yeah, it's the week of spring break. Yep, temperatures are dropping. Yep, toward the end of the week. So that's the 15th. So the 15th would be Wednesday, the 16th Thursday, the 17th Friday. I mean, high temperatures in the 60s, morning lows in the 40s is nothing to sneeze about. It's not necessarily Christmas cold, right? But that's something. May not be Christmas cold, but that's That's a break from the heat a little bit. Yeah. How does that compare to the March forecast? Let's see. '16th, 17th, I do have trending cooler. But here we are. Today's the 2nd. Didn't get any showers, and it didn't trend cooler, really. It trended cooler like Monday, Tuesday, and then milder here. So the warm-up, instead of happening on the 4th, it's really happening like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then the 8th and the 9th, I've got a bit of a trending cooler on the 8th and the 9th. That works, actually. Yeah. So it's not perfect. Yeah. It's not perfect, but it's there. One thing that's interesting is on this, we have a couple of opportunities for nastier storms on the 19th and on the 27th. So we'll see if that plays out. The February long-range forecast was not very good. I think Chris Pierce had messaged me yesterday and said it was like 50%. So not very good. It's my focus on the long-range forecast is more for the hurricane season. So I definitely, this is definitely a work in progress. But we'll see how March turns out. Hopefully better than February. Rosebud says you can change it. We won't tell. I'm not changing it. I mean, it is what it is. February was still an early call. By March, we started dialing in, but it also comes down to like the words you use. Debbie says, darn that Chris Pierce. No, I appreciate it. I want full transparency and so, and as I said to him, he literally said 50% with a frown face, to which I responded, happens. It has to do with the words I use. I need to find ways to, It happens. And during the month of February, March, and April, as we kind of trend out of winter, it's like the jet stream shifts, and sometimes it doesn't kick the way that it did the first time. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, it is what it is. Tuned in while westbound and down on I-10. Hey, Brian, good morning to you. Laura says, I feel like 50% is pretty good. It's not. It's not. It's definitely not what I want. But these things happen. That was still early in the cycle, so that'll be all right. Waiting for that April calendar. I'll get there, Beverly. I'll get there. Okay, everybody's asking for April. Give me a minute. I just did the dang hurricane forecast yesterday. Are you not entertained? You give these people an inch, they're going to ask for a mile. You give them a mile, they're going to ask for 2. Laura says it's better than 49%. Now that's a... Yes, it is. Yes, it is. If I'm honest, like anything less than 70% is just a loss to me. But that's okay. Learn. As Alanis Morissette said, you live, you learn, you lahooze, you learn. So here we are. Never enough info. I know. Debbie says, I'm not asking for April. I'm waiting for tomorrow. I don't know that I'll have it ready tomorrow. Dad's having a procedure done today. So if I'm honest, my free time today, I'm after coffee talk, I'm going to go take another nap. And then after that, I'm going to go over and hang with Dad and the brothers. So little procedure for Dad. If y'all are into this sort of thing, send some good vibes my father's way, some prayers, if that's your thing. It's a good thing that his procedure today is a good thing, but it's always a little nerve-wracking. So good vibes and prayers, if you don't mind, folks. If you're not into the prayer thing, then some good vibes. That's all. Priscilla, I've been wondering how his dad. He's great, and today is a very big step. But a little procedure. So, a little concerning just in the metrics of it. So send the good vibes, the good energy if you can today. We would certainly, the Burris boys would certainly appreciate it. Yeah. Priscilla, praying for him and have been thinking of him lately. Glad you mentioned it. Well, thank you, Priscilla. So yeah, I'm not going to have April done tomorrow because my free time today, I'm going to run over to the hospital and hang with the Burris boys. And when Dad wakes up, with him too. So thank you very much, Nathaniel, Carol. Hey, thank you, everybody. Really, thank you. Yeah, it's a very good thing. It's a big day. So that's where we're at, people. Any questions, comments, concerns, anything at all? I like the good vibes, Mr. Frank. From one Frank to another, I like it. Yeah. Mickey, Coffee Talk guest tomorrow. You know what's funny? I asked Manolfi and he never said yes. I'm going to imagine that he'll be good with it, but I need to ask. I'm going to do it again. Hey, Goober, you never responded, period. Will you wake up early and do Coffee Talk with me in the morning, ? I'm sure he will, unless he has something going on or something to that effect. Rosebud, we already had a great guest this week. Oh, yeah, right? That's crazy. By the way, if you missed it, yes, speaking of which, if you missed it yesterday, yesterday we revealed our 2023 hurricane season forecast. It's available online, wesh.com/hurricane forecast. We got into the nitty gritty of it all. Talked about the hot spots and all that fun stuff. So yeah, it was something. There's the hot spots for this year. I do always laugh. Mike's weather page shared that video and said, like, here's a forecast, and the people are like, oh, they don't they put out the same hurricane forecast hotspots every year? And it's like, no, you can't tell it. You can't tell somebody like that who says that kind of a statement. But no, we don't. Like, this is this year. If you look back to 2020, for example, like these were the hotspots in 2021. Did include the Florida Gulf Coast. If you look back to landfall hotspots in 2020, we did not include the Florida Peninsula, and there's where the storms went. So what are you going to do? Can't tell people sometimes. But anyway, that always worked out pretty well. Again, my metric, if I'm honest with you, is always 75%. If I can do 75% accurate on long range, I'm happy. And that's my goal. Even though February was a miss, I'm hoping that January, March, even April kind of hit it a little more on the head. But there's our forecast hotspots for this year. So always interesting stuff. And I encourage you to read the article, wesh.com/hurricane forecast. Yeah. So that's that. I'd like to share what we are doing, Karen says. Nate has a very rare genetic condition, and we are pinged to New York City for an appointment with a specialist. I've been working toward this for years, and it's finally happening. Well, you know what, Karen? It sounds like you and your family need some good energy. Karen sending you and Nate some very good energy. Thoughts, prayers. I'll be praying for you guys. That sounds great. That sounds like an incredible thing to have finally happening. So I'm really grateful for it. I was about to go to war for you, Eric, but I'd seen that you clapped back. Yeah, you don't have to go to war. You know what's funny? Years ago, I feel like people thought that I was like bashing this guy. I was bashing fearmongers. I had never and would never call him out directly because he's not a fearmonger. But people misconstrued that. And I feel like the people on his page just think that I'm anti him. And it's not the case at all. I mean, those of us in Coffee Talk know, like, Mike pops in every now and then and says hello and comments. Like, he and I direct message each other as well. It's, so anyway, that's okay. Nobody says they have to like me, and that's fine. I've had bosses that don't like me. There you go. It's just what it is. You can't make everybody like you. So Mike and I chat. It's fine. Like, but I do laugh when people say that. And you just, they don't understand the methodology that goes into it. They're not going to take the time to learn, and you're not going to be able to take the time to get them to do it. So we move on. Such is life. There's room for plenty of us weather nerds, right? I think this little community has shown us this. So Bruce says, I like you, Eric. Oh, Bruce, I like you too, buddy. All right. Bobby, what about this storm thing on the 30th of May? We have plenty of time. I'm going to go close my eyes. I'm tired. I'm done for the day. I'm shocked. How could anyone not love you? Oh, Karen, because that's human nature. What are you going to do? All right, listen. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Debbie says, Eric, not everyone understands your love language. And that's true. That's true. Yeah, that's it. All right, it's nap time for me. Listen, thank you all for hanging out. I'll try to pop on at 3:30 and do an afternoon update, but in the meantime, just make it a great day. It's beautiful outside. It's going to be hot as snot, though, but it's going to be beautiful. So go be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you so very much for hanging out for Coffee Talk, and we'll chat later. Sound good?